Hello guys, this is my senior project. So I'm going to go over the UI first in the entirety and then go over the code. So this is my student campus. I have two links, campuses and students. As you see, very simple UI layout. I didn't put much CSS into it. So students first. Here's a list of students. As you see, when I click on them, the edit students form pop up with their defaults, and I can change their names and campuses. So if I change Jessica to Jessica W, you see that her name changes. I can also change Chan, give him a campus, and give him Binghamton. We can also add new students. When you click add, you'll see a new student form pop up. In this case, you can add a new student. So let's say we want to add Barry, and we want to put him in Binghamton. And there's Barry in Binghamton. Deletion also works as you would expect. So you can simply delete them. And if you refresh the page, you see everything is saved in the server. As for campuses, it's pretty much the same thing, except I put form in separate places. Here you can see that we can create a new campus. Let's say we call it Northeastern. And you save it. If you go to Northeastern, it has an empty table, doesn't have anybody in it. If you go back to campuses and you go back to Binghamton, you see that Chan's already placed in Binghamton. If you go to Carnegie Mellon, Jessica is currently in Carnegie Mellon. So we can add Barry back again, and you see that Barry would have Northeastern as a new campus. We can put Barry in Northeastern, and then we can also put Rice in Northeastern. So they're both now in Northeastern. You go to campuses, you go to Northeastern, you can see Rice and Barry in Northeastern. And that's about it. I mean, I guess you can also change it to Northwestern. Then you see that the campus is now Northwestern. You go back to students, you see that both students are now in Northwestern. So that's it for the UI. As you can see, there is one feature that I was missing. Deleting campuses. I just didn't get a chance to do it, but that's the quickie for the UI layout. Now for the code. So this should be pretty standard. I'm going to go to the root first. Let's see. So this is the root. As you see, I have links here, campuses and students, and I have a link to each campus. So these are going to be my main components. And let me show you my reducers too. So here's my reducers folder. I have an index that contains two reducers, students and campuses. And these two reducer files are almost the same, so I'm just going to show you one of them. I have get student, create student, delete students. These are pretty much like what we have in our workshop, the layouts and everything. Action creators, font creators, which have Axios calls, and then the reducer itself, which we export. That index we use. So that's that. And then the rest of the code, like the stores, I left alone. So those are pretty much unchanged from what full stack gave us as a skeleton. Now I can show you the actual components themselves. So if I go to campuses, you see that when I mount, I get students and get campuses. And over here, I have a link to each campus. Over here. You see that I elected to, wait, not here, sorry. Here. here I elected to just pass the state itself to the campuses, to campus ID. Of course, there are other ways to do it. Inside the campus, each campus component, I can probably just match the param in the URL and then do a fetch campus by ID. I think I tried both ways and I just went with this way. It has its pros and cons, obviously, but I don't remember the exact decisions that went into doing it this way. But of course, this way has its shortcomings, since you have to go to each campus component using the link. Otherwise, it's going to be missing a state. So that said, as you can see, I'm using React Redux. So students now. Students should be the same. You see that in students, I am going to render student form depending on whether it's an edit or new, and I know whether it's an edit or new whether or not it's given a props of students. So that logic should be here. Oh, well, this is like it's a submit button. I would know if I have a student ID already. I'm probably updating a student. If it doesn't have an ID, I'm going to create one. Create a student. So this is the student. The rest should be HTML. Not very exciting. Here I had to put in a event stop propagation because when I click on the delete button, I also don't want to activate the row on click that I have on the row itself here. And that should be the students. Let's take a look at the student form. The student form has a local state with campus ID. So here we'll know whether or not, so each state corresponds to a field on the student form itself. I have a will receive props here because if you go to students, the form is already rendered and it's already mounted, but it only receives new props, right? So that's when it knows how to repopulate the form. The rest should be pretty standard too. The handle submit is same as workshop. Handle change is pretty much the same. Nothing very special in student form besides that. And the campus form is also somewhat the same structure. So here we have campuses. Oh, this is each individual campus itself. Remember from the link, we pass the campus and students. It reads it from the location, and then it renders the students inside the table. Very simple table, as you see. That should be it. Well, thank you for looking at my super simple project. 3 minutes is way too short to explain everything, but I hope I passed the class.